Christmas, and thank you for joining us on the Christmas edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Ozubaku. I have with me here Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Mayor Akipelu. Jide, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Mayor, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
We have to be here.
Yeah, whatever happens, we must do our job. It's an obligation that we have, and we're happy to keep the obligation.
And people are waiting for us, so they want to get the information. I told our viewers tomorrow that, yesterday, that BKO is going to be in the house. BKO is in the house today. Mayor, welcome. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, it's my pleasure being here. I won't miss this for anything because it is heartwarming to hang out with people all over the world and share ideas with them and discuss topical issues. So it's nice to be here.
I had to leave Alaji Suraja Ilara's house to run here. I just say, Daddy, I have to do this because of Nigeria at 5 o'clock. Now, today on the program, at last, federal government obeys court order, releases Dansoki Sowore from detention. President Buhari, others express shock as gunmen attack former President Jonathan's residence in Otuoke, and later on the show, Defense Ministry disagrees with Governor of Borno State, says Boko Haram not holding onto any Nigerian territory. I have Babajide Kolade Otitoju in the studio and Mayor Akipelu. So if you are ready, let the hangout start now. Thank you for joining this Christmas edition of Journalist Hangout. It's never too late to do which is corrective. After much public outcry, the federal government saw reason to release former National Security Advisor Sambo Dansoki and former the convener of Revolution Now protest Omoyele Sowore. The release of Dansoki, who had been in detention for about 4 years, and Sowore detained since August, came after an order from the office of the Attorney General, Abubakar Malami SAN. This shows that the government is beginning to adhere to the rule of law. As we repeatedly stressed on this program, let's share some of them with you.
We can't have a situation in which one arm of government will be subservient to the other. They are all supposed to be working at the same level. One should never see itself as being superior to others. The federal government has no reason to choose what decisions of the court that it should obey, that it can obey. Once decisions of the court are made, you have every reason in the world to obey the decision of the court. Otherwise, what you are asking for is anarchy. The disrespect of the judiciary has to stop. The truth is, democracy thrives on the respect for rule of law. No matter how much we like a government, we must not close our eyes to flagrant disobedience to court orders and clear disrespect to the judiciary. What the DSS did, which they are now trying to make it look like, it shall arrest people that actually stage manage it, constitute a disrespect to the judiciary. You can't come into the temple of justice while a court matter was on.
You have your case against Sowore, but there is a pending situation from the court. This man has been given the bail. You have to respect that. And when you begin to bring gangsterism, to borrow that word, then it doesn't help your image. I think the DSS has to learn to polish its image.
His arrest itself was done within the ambit of the law. Therefore, if within the ambit of the law he gets granted bail, then you have to respect the decision of the court to grant him bail.
All that, no? So that's not my problem. My problem is that, look, you are almost making a hero out of a nobody. It was not
creating the impression that's what he wanted.
That could not have been the intention of the government. What? For what? If you arrested him in August, within the law allows you 48 hours, arraigning in courts, and you can then
You can say that, oh no, don't get involved in our matter, this and that. But no country can live in isolation. You are not an island as a country. You even go to other countries to ask for loans and all that. You ask for support, you ask for help from other countries. So you cannot say that you are the only one who can run your affairs. Otherwise, our own president had no business going to Gambia to ensure that the agent left office. So no country is an island. Stop that talk that, oh, don't get involved in our matter. You get involved in other people's matters.
Okay.
You have a history of getting involved in other people's matters. Once something has gone against our law, we will talk about it. We will condemn the people involved. We are not interested in any sectional debate or anything. That's not our business. The man who has decided to take over the matter, we didn't tell him to take over the matter.
Previous editions we had on this Shure matter, and Babajide, this is coming at a cost. The federal government's image, the international community, this really affected it, and it seems that this Shure issue was something that was not well thought out.
No, you know, I said it from the beginning that it was a mistake. A mistake was made. Rather than admit the mistake, the DSS went to apologize personally to the judge. The man who led the operation went to apologize to the judge. The lawyer who led the prosecution team went to the judge's chambers to apologize. So while those Nigerians were spewing absolute rubbish that, oh, these are the people who did this on the floor, this and that, the people who tried to abduct Shure within the four walls of a court, they knew they had done something wrong. And I still am, up till now, I'm yet to see a judge or a Nigerian lawyer with sanity intact who will say that what happened that day was okay. Even the activist who has now become a minister, your friend Kiyamo, he refused to justify what happened. No sensible person will say it was right within the four walls of a court while a judge had called the case. She was still sitting. And then we saw all that drama play out before our eyes, and we tried to try to make it look like, oh, it's some Shure boys, this and that, who are doing it. No, we recognize them. And as I said in one of our episodes, a lot of the people who try to influence public opinion, misinform people, they've not seen some videos that some of us have seen. By our privileged position, we have access to information that they can only imagine in their dreams. So this is the thing. Our country's leadership realized that a mistake had been made. The Attorney General moved in quickly to say he was taking over the matter. And having taken over the matter, he can do what pleases him. He can decide to drop the charges, especially if we are unable to bring cast iron evidence against this young man.
That allegation that was...
And I said it on that day. I said it that day, the first time we discussed this matter after the show of shame inside the court premises. I said, for as long as no fresh charges had been filed, the old bail that was granted him subsists.
Yes.
So the Attorney General now has come to say that he was ordering his release based on the bail that was granted. No one is saying you cannot arrest.
So it was kept in legalities that day.
Yes, you did not file any, you did not bring any case against, you just kept him because some people made up their mind that he must do Christmas in detention. Some people made up their minds that, oh, he has a green card. And the law is that, oh, you have a green card, you cannot stay outside America for 6 months on the bounce. So once he stays for 6 months on the bounce, he loses that privilege. But at the end of the day, he's been granted bail. I said, look, you already, one of the conditions given Shure before was granted bail is one of the most stringent I've ever heard of.
He mustn't leave Abuja.
He cannot leave Abuja.
Abuja the way it is now.
So he can't leave Abuja.
And
so
Falana was telling us that he doesn't have a house in Abuja to stay.
Are you even saying that our own security agencies that we cannot monitor him within Abuja. It's that small federal capital territory. Who will see that you cannot monitor, that you then have to embarrass our country? Because before now, see protests in America in his favor. These kind of things were not happening before. People didn't protest for Dasuki.
No, at all.
But his matter became, assumed a life of his own. People were protesting.
Congressmen were writing letters.
And you know the U.S. Congress. The U.S. Congress, there are some very influential individuals in the Congress. Once they turn against you as a country, before you know it, their country, the president will turn against you, and you want to buy Tucano.
Tucano.
No, of course, yes, I'm saying the truth.
Super Tucano,
The
yeah.
Tucano that the black president that you venerated refused to sell to you. Trump came and said, look, Mr. President, I want to see you. He invited our president over, and he said, look, I will support you in defeating Boko Haram. I will allow you to buy weapons, which Obama refused to sell to us, despite all our pleas. Now, do you then allow the matter of Showore and other people to damage the relationship, the good relationship that Trump clearly made up his mind to build with our country? So there are certain things that you can sacrifice.
Mayor.
You cannot sacrifice that relationship because of Showore.
Mayor, Sambo Dakusuki to me is just a lucky man, because the same thing, the courts had ordered his release, different courts. But somebody in government is just saying, I'm going to punish you. You are going to still be there. As long as this government is there, you will rot in jail.
Yeah,
in spite of the several court orders.
Yes, I'm happy for Dasuki. Why I'm happy for Dasuki, like you said, is because it was obvious that this government made up its mind that we're not going to release him until the end of the government. The same thing that they did to Al-Mustafa when Mustafa was in jail for a long time. But because I've not seen any new order that will make the Attorney General to want to release Dasuki. All the orders of the court that were given was ignored. But why we have to say why I commend the government for obeying the law for the first time, I believe that they are doing what they are doing now because of the pressure from all quarters against to this government. And I think principally when American politicians started taking interest and American government started taking interest in Showore's case, it became a fait accompli that they had to obey the law, because they cannot continue to, like you said, jeopardize the relationship that they know they have a lot to lose. So I'm happy Dasuki benefited from the rule of law. But you see, we have to check our DSS. The problem has to do with the way DSS goes about doing its business. They've turned themselves to law unto themselves. They believe that they have this impunity of not following the rule of law. Because what they did embarrassed everybody, yes, but you see, that's not the first time they would do it. If you remember, they did it when they attacked the National Assembly with hooded officers, and the vice president or acting president then had to fire the director of DSS. But DSS has to know that in a democracy, the bedrock of democracy is the rule of law. If we don't follow the rule of law, the only alternative is chaos.
Okay, my producer is telling me that I have to take this break. Then when we come back, we'll talk more. Please stay with us. Don't go away. Yes, welcome back. This is Journalist Hangout. Then, Babajide, why do you think Sambo Dasuki was kept? Being, okay, National Security Advisor, he could not account for some funds and everything, but the way the trial was going and the court saying that he should be released, but like 2-3 times, but they kept him there.
First and foremost, the offense that Sambo Dasuki was deemed to have committed is bailable. The maximum punishment is 10 years in jail. So you have no reason to keep someone in detention for that long. I hear all kinds of stories that, he locked Buhari up when they seized power. It's absolute falsehood. Sambo Dasuki was not amongst the people who went to arrest Buhari when they took power. The people who went to arrest Buhari were Major Abdulmuni Aminu, Lawan Gwadabe, and one other officer.
And I think
People say Colonel Dangiwa Umar, but I've been told that Dangiwa Umar was actually involved in arresting the ADC and the commander of Brigade of Guards. So, you see, the truth is, the point that I'm making is, yes, he was ADC to Babangida after Babangida became head of state. When Babangida was chief of army staff, his ADC was Major Mekpaeda from Ife in Kogi State, who was arrested along with so-called coup plotters in 1995. So, Dasuki was not involved in the arrest of Buhari. He never locked Buhari up. In fact, a junior officer does not take the decision to lock anyone up. The decision has to be taken by the boss himself. If IBB didn't feel like locking him up, an ADC or any other officer for that matter could not have taken that decision. Buhari was locked up he was put under house arrest in Benin. It wasn't Sambo Dasuki that locked him up there. So these things, Nigerians just invented that story because they could not understand why it would be kept for that long. And when people also talk about Mama Daura, that there's nothing Mama Daura wants that he doesn't get in this presidency. The truth is, Mama Daura is married to Dasuki's sister, Hajia Umu. Hajia Umu has 5 kids for Mama Daura, and that's the only wife of Mama Daura that anyone knows. Yet, during this time, Mama Daura could not effect or cause Sambo Dasuki to be released, despite the close ties. Your own blood sister, the same father, the same mother.
Really?
Yes.
That's close.
Yes. Secondly, in 2011, when there was an attempt to merge the CPC and the ACN, Mama Daura, Sambo Dasuki played a key role because he was in the CPC.
Really?
Yes. This, ask Buba Galadima. You can call Buba Galadima, he will tell you this story. He was in the CPC. But my own reading of what happened, and he tried his best to make the alliance work, but it didn't work. We all know why it didn't work. Now, my own reading of what happened, when they began to question Sambo Dasuki about missing funds meant for weapons and all that, he kept saying, look, I was an appointee. I was only taking orders. You are asking me this question, ask the then Commander-in-Chief. It is not me. So he did not cooperate fully with the investigators. So that one angered the government to the point that we want information and this guy is not cooperating. So they felt that, look, if we kept him there, we break his will. After a while, it will open up. But he refused. He said, no, he's that man that you should call. Then, when he saw that he was being released on bail, and they were not releasing him, including even the order of the West African court, he then said, okay, I will not go to court with 2 people again until the order granting me bail is complied with. So that's how he remained in detention.
Thank you for
and he
that
was not being brought to court.
Historical perspective. Now, is it not worrisome? Because Jide said it in the earlier edition we had, that when the government will start choosing the order of courts that they will listen to. Now, it took the directive of Malami, and should that be? It took the Attorney General to give.
And he was the one who said earlier that, look, yes, I cannot order
this. That's what I'm saying.
Yes,
because on the 6th of December, he said he could not.
I was talking with one of our engineers yesterday. The engineer was asking me that, so am I sure that it's not going to take a process before Shore and Dansuki? I told him that, look, in the next 1 hour, you will see Shore out. I think just because it's coming from the executive.
No, it is very worrisome. It is worrisome because, 1, this government does not have respect for the rule of law. 2, this government believes in impunity. They believe they can do whatever they like and they can get away with it, which is very, very worrisome. Because when we say we are practicing democracy, then we have to know that we have to go by the rule of law. That is how it works. If somebody has run foul of the law, yes, you can arrest him and prosecute him. It is in your right to do so. It is your duty to do so. But when the court in its wisdom, grants bail to any accused, it should be obeyed. But this government doesn't care about the judiciary, which is very worrisome. Because what they are doing now is just an afterthought. Because other factors have happened, certain things have happened, and they are embarrassed, and they believe, oh, the best thing is to just, let's just release this people.
Let them go.
But it should not be like that. It should not be, the rule of law should not be at the whims or caprice of those who are in government. It is very, very worrisome.
Everybody should be subjected.
Everybody should, yes.
Once the law,
That's the law.
Once the courts give their order, you are duty bound to obey it. Is for me, it's something to really be worried about, that a government will choose when to obey the law courts. It's wrong. But we've seen now that this has happened. Then what we want is for them to continue along this line. They've obeyed many orders of the courts, but there are some that they refuse to obey. And it's even cascading down to state level. We have some governors who are refusing to obey court orders. The Supreme Court has already given the judgment that governors have no power over to remove elected local government chairmen.
Yes.
But we see governors doing that at will.
Yeah.
As if the decision of the court do not matter. We cannot have a democracy that we will be proud of if the government chooses when to obey the courts. No, it's a recipe for chaos, and we don't want chaos on our hands. So from now on, having now decided to obey grant bail that had been granted Dasuki a long time ago, having now decided, look at Justice Taiwo, give them 45 days, lock Shewure up. After 45 days, you still ask for more time to lock him up. He then said, no. He said, no, I will grant him bail. He granted him bail, you refuse to release him. I mean, why should you behave like that? Then Justice Ojukutu decided to grant him bail, grant Shewure bail. After the ultimatum, the DSS released him, only for them to come into the court premises, not knowing that the woman had called a fresh case. She had no reason. You know, so it's embarrassing, but we hope that this will stop. This aberrant behavior will stop. Let the world not see us as a country of outlaws. Let the world see us as a country that respects the rule of law, that respects its own laws. So the DSS is a product of the law. Therefore, it must respect the laws of our land. And the federal government, the executive, the president, and the people around him must know that the primacy of our laws, cannot be diminished in any way. And from now on, once decisions are made by the courts, those decisions
should be binding.
Every decision, not simply that we cherry pick decisions to obey. Every decision of the court must be obeyed.
Okay, I have my first caller. Merry Christmas to you. Sanusi.
Hello?
Thank you for joining us, Sanusi.
Yes, I want to greet Mr. Babajide Merry Christmas and Happy New Year in advance.
I wish you the same, Sanusi.
And the crew member there, you are really enjoying your program. However, before I make a comment on the current issue there, I would like Babajide and the other members of the crew to give us the update about the Trump impeachment. We would like to know what is really going on in America now concerning
Sanusi, we're in Nigeria. We're discussing Nigeria. And maybe
well,
sometime in January.
Let's just say briefly.
That might be
Don't worry,
after,
Sanusi.
Yes.
Let me say, I will tell you. For now, it is the House of Reps in America that has impeached him.
Okay.
The Senate must back the impeachment.
It must go on trial.
The Senate, if the Senate does not back that impeachment, it stays in office.
Yes, Mr. Jabbar,
that was what happened.
But the analytical aspect of it and the politics behind the Americans, that is exactly what we believe that will give us a better research.
That is what happened that is what happened in the case of Clinton. It was the House of Reps dominated by the Republicans that moved to have him impeached. But when they got to the Senate, they hit a brick wall, and Clinton survived. So the same thing may happen in the case of
And
Trump.
to add to that,
Trump,
there's a small politics going on now because until they transmit, until the speaker,
Nancy Pelosi
until the
transmit
speaker
the
transmit
articles
the articles of impeachment to the
Senate.
Senate, that's when they can.
Okay.
That's when they can initiate trial. But they are saying
Senate,
they're not going to transmit it now because they want to be sure of the process, that the process will be fair in the Senate. So right now they are still that law.
And they don't have the number. They don't have the number.
Now.
The Democrats don't have the
The
number.
Republicans are
Senate.
united.
Yes.
Not one Republican supported them
65
in impeaching
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump. So we can then say that even in the Senate, the Republicans will be united. This president of America, the economy of America has improved to the point that it is the best that they've seen in the last 18 years.
Unemployment 3%.
Unemployment has gone down. So how you want to impeach a president who is deemed to be doing well? Well, history will decide.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what the Democrats just want to achieve is
Dent
to
him.
Yes, it's to know. They know that they cannot remove him from office, but they know that the impeachment will affect him one way or the other. One, it will be in his record that he was impeached.
And
Then
so
secondly,
his re-election.
they will send message to people that this is a man that does not really by the rule of law and all that.
Well, Sanusi, you succeeded in shifting our focus, but then
We'll do it one of these days.
No, by January we'll treat it. Don't worry. Before the trial from the Senate. Now, should we term it madness or desperation? In the early hours of Tuesday, some gunmen launched an attack on the country home of former President Goodluck Jonathan in Otuoke, Bayelsa State. A gallant soldier lost his life in the attack, while 2 others sustained injuries. Their motive is yet to be ascertained by President Muhammadu Buhari, who put a call to Jonathan to sympathize with him, expressed sadness over the tragic and unfortunate attack. Other Nigerians have joined the president in expressing dismay at the attack. We are dismayed too that such could happen to a former #1 citizen of the country. I thought the security around these people, thought it was top-notch. SSS, former military guys and everything. You know what's happening?
No,
A military man could even be killed.
Well, the truth is, once you are no longer in power, the security around you will be relaxed, at least to a certain extent. The sort of thing that they did, nobody can go to Aso Rock to do it, for example. Aso Rock is surrounded by 5 barracks, and you have the DSS. Everybody is ready, and
You have the Brigade of Guards.
and loaded. So you can't even move near the seat of power to say that you want to attack the president. But the truth is, they actually attacked the military outpost there with the intention of stealing the gunboat. It's the gunboat that they were after. I heard that someone said that the president, that they wanted to kill Jonathan, and because they didn't succeed, they decided to release Showore and Dasuki so that it will it will douse the tension created by the attempt on this man's life. It's very shameful that our people go to this extent to put a spin on what happened. The former president himself has narrated how it happened, and it shows clearly that these were just a group of bandits trying to steal the gunboat. The gunboat is useful for them because all the...
For the guys in the creek.
Yes, they do a lot of criminal activities on waterways. They kidnap people and all that. They seize even ships, bringing some of them bringing fish and other things. So they need that gunboat. They felt that this gunboat is of high quality, so they wanted to steal it. But they didn't know that the soldiers were ready. So the soldiers were ready. They returned fire and they killed 3 of those boys. And we lost a soldier in the process. I want to believe that the security around the former president will be increased at this time. Remember, even Buhari, before the 2015 election, he also came under attack. Yes, when he was coming from a visit to the Sheikh Dairu Bauchi, You know, he was attacked. Some people died in the process. So, and then after that, his security was beefed up. I expect that this will happen, so that this is like a warning signal to us. So
Nothing must
the
happen to-
security has to be beefed up.
Around
I believe absolutely that the president is embarrassed by what has happened. He has no reason to send people after him. So the person
Even I
made that
remember
statement.
President Jonathan actually beefed up security around President Buhari that time.
That's
Yes,
what
because-
that's what I said earlier. That now he too has to return the favor now.
SUVs,
He too has to return the favor now, improve the security. He's President Jonathan is a gentleman.
To the core.
President Buhari still respects him. He says this all the time. That he is indebted to him because the manner he handed over and all that. So nobody wants the former president killed. Those who are spinning such illogical arguments, they should be ashamed of themselves. When something happens, instead of us to first be patient to really get a good grasp of what has happened, we will already be spinning some illogicalities. So it's really sad.
Mayor, what do you make of this?
I am looking at it from, I want to look at it from the point of view that it shows the level of insecurity in our country. You know, we have to do something about our security architecture. Nigeria is gradually moving to a state of anarchy. Because when boys who attack innocent citizens at will can have the effrontery to attack the home of a former president, it shows their level of confidence. Yes, they wanted to steal a gunboat, but that's how they've been stealing gunboats and kidnapping people and holding people hostage. But now they are so emboldened that they can attack the home of a former president. It's scary. We have to do something about it. I did like Jude said, I don't believe that this government has no reason to go after the former president. There's no reason for it. Rather, there seems to be like an unofficial relationship between APC as a party and the former president. When you look at what played out in the governorship election in Bayelsa. So there's no reason for the government to go after him. I think, yes.
He has not been criticizing them.
Yes, it's just like the
He's
level
playing
of
the
insecurity.
international role.
Yes,
you know,
the
he
level
goes
of insecurity
monitor elections
in that
and
part
everything.
of the country has gotten to a stage that the boys are so emboldened that they believe they can do anything. Because I expect that they will know that that's the house of the former president. For them to have the confidence that they can go there, a place where soldiers are on guard, shows the level of insecurity in the country. That's how I'm looking at it.
And if it was an ordinary person. But you see, the goal was not to attack the president.
Yeah.
The goal was to steal the gunboat.
Yes.
So with that gunboat, they can do a lot of nasty things on the waterways. And, you know, even Nigerian waters
Seeing
has
what
already
Boko
been
Haram will be
deemed,
doing with gunboats.
Nigerian waters had already been deemed unsafe because a lot of piracy takes place on the Nigerian waterways, and we have to do something about that. You know, all the time, even the Minister of Transport talks about the need for us to have joint efforts to tackle piracy, to defeat piracy on our waterways. So this is a wake-up call. This is a wake-up call. So the efforts must be made to secure our waterways the more, because those guys came, you know, his house is a kind of waterfront house, so they came through the waterways and seeking to steal the gunboat. So militants are increasingly confronting the army in our country. And if we remember how militants slaughtered soldiers in Buhari, it shows that they are becoming bolder and bolder. And what this means is that the average citizens of our country is not safe. I was speaking with the policeman, the DPO, who was kidnapped the other day, and he was telling me that the people who kidnapped him were not Nigerians. There were Cameroonians there were Chadians and Nigerians. So when we sometimes try to protect criminals because we think they are part of us, we are doing ourselves a lot of harm. Because a lot of these people who come to kill us in our country are not from this country.
Yeah,
they are foreigners.
They are foreigners.
A lot of those bandits, you say, he's Fulani. But the truth is, we have Fulani in Mali, in Senegal.
In Ghana.
They call them Fula. In Senegal, they call them Fula. But they are Fulani. The current president of Senegal is of the Fulani stock. The former president of Cameroon, Amadou Ahidjo, was a Fulani. You see, so there are Fulanis in different parts of Africa, right up to Mauritania, all of these countries, we have Fulani. Our own president said it when he went to resolve the dispute in Mambila. He said it that, look, that when they talk about Fulani, headsmen, this and that, a lot of them are not Nigerians. So these foreigners have no reason to come to our country and be killing our people. We have to deal ruthlessly with them. Border. Anytime we catch them, we have to deal ruthlessly with them. We must not treat them as one of us.
The government wants to have open borders now and said they can come in and get
open
visa.
borders.
No, what I'm saying is that get visa
on arrival.
That's what I'm saying. So which means that we have to look about this foreigner because majority of those
it's something that we have to think about.
Yes,
it's not
majority of those.
But a lot of those
bandits,
people don't even need.
No,
those ones are the people that we are
it's
targeting
true.
are
It's
those
true.
who come in legitimately
Through their
to do
airports.
business
Yes.
here. But those guys come in through our unofficial borders.
And
Boko
they come
Haram
in and out every
comes
day.
in through our unofficial borders to kill our people. So those guys are different. But it doesn't mean that we should not take a second look at that plan by government. And I can see that even the Senate has said that it needs some clarity on the matter before they decide.
All right, moving forward now, defeated or not defeated has been a raging debate regarding the Boko Haram insurgents in Nigeria. Another hot issue is whether the insurgents occupy any territory in the country. Now, the latter has pitched Governor of Borno State, Professor Umara Zulum, against the Nigerian military. Governor Zulum said Boko Haram fighters have taken over some towns in the state, but the defense headquarters denied it. Acting Director of Defense Information, Brigadier General Oyema Nwachukwu, insists that Boko Haram and Islamic States for West Africa Province, ISWAP, terrorists are not holding any part of Nigeria. He said they have been pushed down to the island between Nigeria and neighboring Chad and Cameroon. Gentlemen, this is a raging debate. I remember the former governor, Governor Shetima, when he was there. I remember at different time under President Goodluck Jonathan, he had to send SOS message to the federal government that, look, this is what is happening in my town. Babajide, Governor Zulum might have opportunity to do a kind of on-the-spot assessment. Is the one covering that state, is closer to that state than the federal government. He's saying that there are some territories, and we've said it repeatedly on this program, a lot of APC chieftains or people in government, they don't like us for that because we keep mentioning names of those territories and specifically the villages, especially Borno North, as we used to say. Now the governor is saying it and defense headquarters is saying, no, there's no such thing. What do you make of this?
I would have been shocked if the defense headquarters admitted that, yes, the governor was right. I would have been shocked because the armed forces have a history of lying to us about what is going on.
What is true?
In Borno, remember Baga? When Boko Haram overran Baga, took over the headquarters of the multinational joint task force. They even shot video in the place. And we general in the army said, we repelled the attack. And I was in Borno State at that time because I spent Christmas last year. I left the place on Christmas Eve. How can I spend 1 week in a place and you think I will not know what's going on there? And when the Daily Trust did a story that the army was planning a massive attack to retake Baga, they went and locked up Daily Trust. Again, something that shouldn't happen in the democracy. And I came back, you asked me, who is in charge of Baga now? And I said, I will not lie because God watches me and one day I'm going back to my maker. And I said, today, as we speak, Baga is in the hands of Boko Haram. Because that was what happened at the time. I can't go to a dangerous area, be seeking information, and then come to the office and begin to lie. Why should I lie at this age? There are some information that we hold back in the interest of the security of our nation. There are things that I know that I would rather not say publicly, especially on the strength of the military. But to openly lie, no, I've gone beyond that point. I can't lie like that. What this governor has said is absolute articulate the truth. And what the governor is saying is, look, help us secure this area so that we can decongest those IDP camps.
So that
He
people can
mentioned
come back
it.
to their...
He said 500,000 people. They are in Monguno IDP camp. They are doing nothing. And I've analyzed the whole of that stretch from Borno, from Maiduguri to Borno, to Monguno, 231 kilometers or so. You only find people in 3 towns. You can imagine.
Like Lagos to Ilorin.
Like Lagos to Ilorin, like only 3 communities there are people. Today, Gudumbali, the headquarters of Guzamala local government, there is not one community where people have chosen to stay.
Not safe.
Why would people stay? That is the home. That is the local government of the Speaker of Borno State Assembly. I dare him to say I'm lying. Monguno, Borno North, is the constituency of House of Reps. This House of Reps man, Monguno, one of the principal officers. I dare him to say the area is safe. Because it's not. There is no way. He even listed the towns. He listed. Yeah. But every time the army will say, no, they are lying. You can't. You remember even when the Senate, this senator from Goza, the one who contested for Senate. Ali Ndume said, these are the number of our troops that have been killed. They also said he lied. There is no time that you say something that appears like the truth, but it's negative, that the armed forces will own up. But in the age that we have found ourselves, do they imagine that when Boko Haram pushed people out of Baga and refugees went to Maiduguri, they went right up to Maiduguri to hide, do they expect that the refugees will not talk to people? They won't tell people what is happening there?
Densely populated areas.
So this is the thing. Abadam, Marte, you won't find people. They have all run away. So if we've secured all those areas, if those areas are safe, won't people stay in their homes? Would they prefer to go and live like beggars when they can farm? Borno State is one of the most fertile states in Nigeria. Would people not like to go back to their ancestral homes and farm and not live like vagrants, living from hand to mouth? So this is the thing. The governor wants answers. The governor is familiar with all those areas. He has led the rebuilding of that state. There's no part of Borno State that Professor Zulum doesn't know. And he's courageous. Remember that his convoy came under attack the other day. Yeah. You know? In fact, I had to talk to some people close to him that, look, this governor should stop risking his life. Because when the former governor, Kashim Shettima, was told, don't go and campaign in Nungala area, he said he will go. He went, but what happened? The convoy came under attack, the long convoy. You know the way Boko Haram does it? They will attack the middle of the convoy, not the beginning, because they know you will put soldiers in front and the back. They are not fools. They will come to the middle, attack the middle. They will break the chain. And then they kidnap people and left. So Zulum wants improvement. Zulum, you know that in the last 1 week, Boko Haram has been attacking Borno South and even Yobe. Governor Zulum went to Borno South to do Christmas with the people. He's there now to do Christmas with them, at least to sympathize with them. And you think that he does not know what's going on in his state?
Mayor, what do you make of this situation?
I think the problem has to do with information management. The Nigerian military have to put their acts together when it comes to information management. They are too embarrassed to accept the situation on ground. But by lying is not the best way to do it. The army can come out to say, yes, we have, after the
You can even say it's exaggerated.
That's what I'm saying. It can come out to say, yes, we have challenges in those areas, but it's not as bad as it was being portrayed. We are making efforts to restore normalcy in those areas and all that. But you see, because they are not doing that, you cannot, and that is their style. That is bad information management. You cannot lie for something that is obvious, that is there. The governor came out to say, look, we have challenges in these areas. Please help us
cook our local government, specific areas.
In those areas so that we can return, so that people can go back to their homes. You cannot now come out and say, oh, there's no inch of Nigerian soil that is has been controlled by Boko Haram. That is bad information management. I think that's the problem. The army has to get their hands together. We know the challenges they are facing. We know that Boko Haram, we know that a large part of Borno North is not under their authority. They should work at it, not by lying that those things did not happen. It's not, there are certain things you cannot, because people live in those areas. If they move from their homes and become refugees, you cannot claim that somebody is controlling a place where the people have moved from that locality to IDP camps. So I think the army should get their ass together and learn how to manage information instead of lying.
Part of the responsibility we have here is to tell people the truth and this situation on ground. Last week, we were here to commend the military about the attack on Yobe State, and they were able to repel that attack. Yeah. We saw videos there and everything. You were out of town that time. Yes. What do you make of that attack? We saw our gallant soldiers repelling Boko Haram.
Yeah, I got wind of the attack just immediately after it happened. You know that Boko Haram had been attacking Yobe communities consistently in the last 2 months. You know, Katarko, Babangida, different communities they've been attacking. So they must have felt what will stop us, because they must have felt that the state capital is not heavily defended.
Damaturu.
Yes, you know, for a long time there was even no military base in Damaturu.
Yeah. Really?
Yes. So it was after around 2014, 2015 that they now set up a base there. So they must have felt, look, let's not let's go there. Perhaps they will not be able to overrun us. But they underrated the capacity of the soldiers who are protecting the state capital. And then the Air Force. The Air Force also weighed in. You know, you use area power. When the Air Force and the Army works together, we always achieve good results. I've always said, look, let's not, you are doing your own, I'm doing your own. You cannot win the war like that. And what I want from the Army. Nobody is saying that they are not doing their best. Within the resources available to them, they are doing their best. And we can see results in some ways. But all the job has not been done. You cannot say that you've won the war. No, I hate hearing that. Because I can prove to you that you have not won the war.
You cannot even win the war. You can't win it.
You know, you cannot, leave politicians to do their bit. Just focus on your job, because I know you want to impress them. You want them to be happy. But look, you cannot soil your own good name because you want to make politicians happy. The truth is, Zulum could not have invented what he said. Zulum is a very, very courageous fellow, because when he was in charge of rebuilding, he went to even dangerous places to rebuild. They will rebuild, those boys will come back, destroy everything that they built. So he knows what's going on, and he has people in running local government, because in those states, in those areas, you have a local government headquarters alone safe. Every other community is not safe. So he has people now. He has serikis, he has district heads. They will give information now. So can somebody be governor and not know what's going on in a state? Is it possible? So this is the thing. When Shetima complained that time, this was the same treatment that he was given. When he said, oh, they have more weapons than the army. Cumulatively, talking about the number of weapons. Boko Haram does not have as much weapons as the army. But Boko Haram has some weapons that are superior to what we have. And I will explain. Because some of the weapons that they have were looted from NATO in Libya. They are advanced grades of prepared grenades in the hands of Boko Haram, because they are NATO weapons. When we seize those weapons from them, we see NATO written clearly on them. So in some cases, those weapons are superior to our own. So we must admit that these are the problems that we have. These are the problems that we have.
Yeah. What I would say is that I understand the problem facing the army. I appreciate their sacrifices. I know that it is a very tough war, because fighting terrorism is not easy. But they have to do something about their information management. They have to try to recover the territories that are under Boko Haram. They should not live in denial of the reality that is on ground, and they should double their efforts. Part of the problem is that we have to find a way of harming our boys in a way that they will be able to prosecute the war better.
And of course, for a government that has been feeding people for almost 10 years. At a point, they will want this whole thing to end.
Yes,
so that those
people
IDPs
go
can
back.
return home.
So that they can work.
We used to
in their
have
farm.
many IDPs in Adamawa and Yobe, but that's not the situation now. They've returned home. They've very largely returned home in those two states.
The burden is still on Borno
But
State.
in Borno State, yes,
yeah,
IDPs
Borno
can
Maiduguri.
return home because look, these boys are put back. They no longer have the active cells that they had in those days when they would strike in Abuja, strike everywhere. No, they put back to hold on to that little territory, which is Borno State now. So their strategy has largely changed. So but now, how do we ensure that we secure places that are not secure so that the money that we are spending on IDPs, we'll be able to save that money for the development of the state? I'm sure this is how the governor is thinking. Let us, when these people return home, all the bags of rice that we are sending to IDP that even some people are stealing, at least that will come to an end. And those guys will be able to fend for themselves. None of them enjoys being IDP. None of them. And so many criminal activities are even taking place inside the camps. So the governor, I'm sure, it was, remember that even KS, Kashim Shettima, was frustrated at one point.
Yeah.
I was saying, no, I will close all the IDP. And I said, you can't close. Where do people go?
People should go back there.
They can't go. When those areas are not safe, you say you want to close camp. Till today, those camps are still there.
Well, Mayor Akipolu, where are you taking us?
No. I should be asking Babajide, where is Babajide taking us?
Where are we
Where
going?
are you taking us?
So you know
It's
that
Christmas.
We have to
he's
celebrate
always been a
Christmas.
celebrity.
Yeah.
So he knows all the hangouts in this town.
So we have to go
All
and
the
continue
watering
our,
holes.
we have to go and continue our hangouts.
He's our senior in that respect.
Yes, so Mayor Akipolu.
It's been raining for so long. Remember that song?
I want to thank you, Mayor Akipolu. Merry
Thank you
Christmas to
very
you.
much. Merry
And BKO, thank you for coming back.
Thank
A lot of your viewers, they've been asking, where's BKO? Where's BKO?
I love my viewers.
Thank you. We have to come. I have to do that for Christmas. So Merry Christmas, everybody. And that's it on Journalist Hangout. Join us tomorrow for the Boxing Day edition of Journalist Hangout. BKO is also going to be here. You can also watch Journalist Hangout on our platform showing on the screen. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. Ayodele Uzuwaku is my name. Saying Merry Christmas, everybody.